turn in your student book to page 162. We're going to try to understand characters in a setting and how to summarize while we read a story. That's our target skill and target strategy this week. Understanding characters. Remember that you can learn a lot about what story characters are like from their words and actions. Use what the characters say and do as clues. You can figure out how they feel and why they act the way they do. You could list the clues or text evidence on a chart. So they have given us an example of what that chart might tell us. This is a graphic organizer. And as you read, you could use a chart like this one to list the names of the characters and describe examples of their words, their actions, and their feelings. By describing those things, it will help you understand the characters' personalities and help you explain kind of why they act the way they do in the story. Target strategy is summarize. Stop to tell about the important events as you read. If good readers stop every few pages to tell in their own words the main events that have happened. And that's what summarizing is. It's the main events, and those are the most important events that happen to characters in a story. Retelling the most important events will help you to understand and remember the main message of the story. Let's preview the topic on page 163. Learning about our country. We live in the United States of America. People have come to this country from all over the world. You learn about our country at school. You can read books about our country too. What do you know about our country? You will read about a boy who moves to the United States in The New Friend. Turn the page and let's meet our author and our illustrator, Maria Poncel. She lives in Spain and she writes her books in Spanish. Many of them have been translated into English, including El Amigo Nuevo, which is The New Friend. Our illustrator is Ed Martinez. He grew up with a painter in the family and his father was an artist. As a boy, he got started by drawing horses. Now he draws pictures for magazines and books. Here you'll see the understanding the characters, the actions, the words, the actions, and the feeling graphic organizer. This is a realistic fiction story. And realistic fiction tells made-up stories about people and events that could happen in real life. So on the title page here, I see an illustration of 4 boys, and they look like they're going to play a game of soccer. As you preview on other pages, you're going to see that the story looks like it's about things that could really happen. All right, so realistic fiction are characters who act like real people and events that could really happen. Our essential question on the bottom of page 165 says, what can you learn from someone who is from another country? And we're going to explore this as we think about the story and read. So what I would like you to do is pause the video. You're going to preview this story. It starts on page 165 and ends on page 181. And then you're going to make a prediction. What do you think this story is going to be about? Once you've done your preview and your prediction, you're going to set your purpose for reading. Because good readers look at illustrations in the story and think about what they know from their preview and what they know about the genre, which is realistic fiction. And then they set a purpose for reading the story. So pause the video now, preview, predict, and then set your purpose. If I were to set a purpose for reading, the title says that the story is about a new friend. And the 4 boys in this picture all look like friends. So I'm not sure who the new friend is, and I'd like to read this story to find out who it is. So you're going to pause the video now, and you're going to begin reading. Remember, the story ends on page 181. So you're going to read up until that page, and then come back to the video, and we're going to think through the text together. Now that you've read the story, let's think about what you read. I'm going to ask you questions and show the pages that you can find the answers on the screen. I'd like you to pause the video and have a short discussion with your learning adult about each question. So what do you find out about the setting and the characters on the first 2 pages of the story? Why do you think the work crew is washing and painting the empty house? Analyze the text. Narrator. Who is the narrator and why do you think so? What do you know about the boys so far? How do you know this? How do we know that Lewis is not the narrator? What happens after Lewis meets Makoto? Why are Makoto's parents glad that Makoto made new friends? Why do you think the author tells you that Makoto stays with the boys while his parents go shopping? Describe Makoto's room. How are Makoto and the narrator alike, and how are they different? Has it been a long or short time since Makoto left Japan, and how do you know? Why do Makoto's parents give the boys cookies? How do you know that Martin and the narrator are polite? Analyze the text, understanding characters. What are Makoto's parents like? Use text evidence and the pictures. What was the main reason the author wrote this story? Now let's dig deeper. Turn to page 182. You read about a character named Makoto in The New Friend. Think about what Makoto says and does in the story. You can use these clues or text evidence to figure out how he feels and what he is like. We can list clues about Makoto and other characters to help you understand them better. You can use a graphic organizer like the one on the page on 182. Under words, I could write what Makoto says he will. Makoto says he will let a boy fly his kite. Under actions, I could write Makoto is what he's doing. Makoto shows the boys his room and his photo album. I can then use those clues to figure out how he's feeling and write it under the feelings category. Sometimes an author writes the story so that a character tells it. That character is the narrator. The narrator may use words like I, me, and we. To help you understand the story better, it's really helpful to know who the narrator is. So let's read about the narrator. Sometimes a character tells the story. This character is the narrator. The narrator may use words like I, me, and we. Which character in The New Friend do you think is telling the story? And why do you think so? Look for text evidence in the words and pictures to help you figure out. Now, it's your turn. We're going to return to the essential question. What can you learn from someone who is from another country? What do you think the boys in the story will learn from Makoto? Describe how the boys and Makoto feel about each other and use text evidence. You can pause the video now, or you can have the discussion once you've done watching the video. The next thing you're going to do is talk about these 3 questions here with your learning adult. Then you're going to write a response. They're asking you to read pages 170 and 171 again. And what do you learn about Makoto on those pages? You're going to use evidence from the words and pictures in the story for more clues about what Makoto is like. You're just going to write a sentence to tell your opinion of Makoto, and you're going to give reasons about why you feel the way you do about him. Your writing tip is that your last sentence should be a nice ending. It can tell your opinion again. For instance, I think that Makoto is looking for a friend, and I think that he is a very nice boy. So I would have to give reasons from the story that tells me those things. And then in the end, I can restate my opinion.